for the Tigers as they celebrated one more time the epic season of 2019, undefeated, 15-0 championship run, 7 wins over top 10 teams. That was the cherry on top inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome with a win over Clemson to cap it off. Last night, the jewelry was unveiled. The players were the first to see them. I was asking Panamsky if we could get a sneak peek yesterday morning on the show. He said absolutely not. He said they would be here 24 hours later to show them off in studio. And a man of his word, former co-host on this show during this time slot, and now special assistant to Ed Ogeron, is here with a handful of jewelry, which last night was unveiled. The box is spectacular.
What's in the box? I'm getting like a very Pulp Fiction vibe from this. I'm surprised that when you opened the top that a golden glow just didn't start emanating from the center.
It didn't?
No, yeah, it kind of feels emotionally like it did.
First of all, morning, everybody.
Yes.
Oh, I get it.
We'll call back.
How was
Stick
last
around
night?
the radio business. I'll teach you something, T.
How was last night?
All right, so
We don't want to unveil these until the next segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can we? Well, at least maybe I'll tease the box a little bit.
Yeah. Make sure
Tease
you
the
put,
box,
there
not
you
show
go.
the ring.
That's why I brought the sanitizer. If you're gonna touch something, make sure you sanitize.
Yep.
I think that right there is the overwhelming thing from last night. Is that we did the best we could with the situation.
Did you learn anything because you got your guys around each other?
Well, we had Shelly Mullenix is phenomenal.
Right.
Yes.
She's a rock star.
Right.
The best.
And so when we had the team meeting, when everybody came back, we were able to, do something there and, have everybody in a room. Luckily, we're blessed enough to have the indoor where we're able to, spread everybody out and do all the socially distant things. Everybody wore a mask. We made sure that the equipment guys, Stringfellow's equipment guys that put the rings out, when they set the boxes up, they had gloves on. What we did is we put the ring underneath everybody's chair. There was an assigned seat. The presentation itself was rather quick, but
That's a Coach O special,
that's
right?
a Coach O special.
I mean, that's get out.
He holds nobody hostage.
That's right.
What
You
did
know,
the
you come in-
freshmen do?
They were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a little thing of a little like, hey, this could be you.
Have you met Ed
If you
Ogeron?
follow the path.
This was a motivator.
Yeah.
There's no question.
So
And I can tell you, being in the back of the room and watching this, those guys were as intent on seeing this as anything else. You could see that there's a Coach always talks about want to. There's a good amount of want to where these guys there was a natural
There's a want for victory.
there was a natural jealousy where they're
Yeah.
like, I really want that. That's good. That's a motivator.
you had guys come back too, as well, right?
we did. Unfortunately, because of originally our plan was around spring game, pro day, when everybody was going to be down, we would have a big event. Unfortunately, with COVID-19, we weren't able to do that. But with some guys that live in the area, were able to come by, and Clyde was there. Lloyd and Justin Jefferson got up and said something. So Coach did some opening remarks. And then we had a video that we put together that we showed, which I believe we're going to release on social media sometime later on this week, where we had guys from the 58, 03, and 07 team talking about what their rings mean to them.
Yeah.
And, kind of one of those, hey, welcome to the club moment, and about how the accomplishment of that ring is something that means something to them for the rest of their lives. So, and then, Lloyd talked, Justin talked, and then basically we had the reveal where it was, hey guys, check under your chair.
So tell me about the design process, because Cody Worsham has a great write-up, and it's titled Perfect Fit, LSU's championship rings tell a story for the ages. That's over at lsusports.net. All of the social media that you can find on LSU football has the article tagged, but it's a great write-up, and it gives great insight to what you, Louis Bourgeois, who's the head of equipment for you guys, and Greg Stringfellow, who was formerly of that position, now an assistant athletics director, went into the design process of this ring.
Yeah, as the process went on and we knew we were going to have 3 rings, it allowed us to be able to have some fun. You're not trying to cram everything onto one ring. There's a lot of history and a lot of tradition here. There's also, there's quite a few national championship rings. So you want to pay homage to those and make sure it looks like an LSU ring. But also, you want to make sure that the unique part of our program and our culture is highlighted on there, because it's not something that every school in the country wants to design this ring. Not every place in the country is going to design a ring like we got a chance to design.
So when did this start? Like, when did the design
Jordy.
process start?
Jordy.
4 years ago? 3 years ago?
October of 2016. Like,
Right.
I mean, like as soon as you walk in the door, you're like, okay, when we win a national championship, this is what we want to do. I mean, if you're not thinking
I
about,
find that a bit surprising, actually.
if you don't think about designing a championship ring every single day when you go to work, what are you going to work for?
I don't know. I mean, just outside looking in, that feels a little like cart before the horse. Like, I get having the eventual goal, no doubt, of wanting to win a championship. It's everything you work towards. But I don't know. I guess I would have just assumed that you wouldn't like allow yourself to go there until you got there.
Absolutely not. If you're not thinking every day about what you're going to do to win a championship, then you're not doing it. You got to do it. You got to go in there and say, I mean, there were people in this building that would have thought 4 years ago when I say I got to design a national championship ring for LSU, that would have been like, no way.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Sitting right here this morning.
Yeah.
So tell me some of the quirks about the ring. There's some cool things to it.
Yeah, I mean, there obviously, with the ability to do things on the three different rings, we were able to do some different. As you can see, the if you're watching on the stream there, with the three different rings, we were able to do a couple of different shapes. We were able to encompass. Now, obviously, the one on the far right, which is the college football playoff ring, that right there, we don't really get to fool around with the
That's
center
the one
of
that the NCAA gives you?
the college football playoff gives.
Oh, okay, yeah. They don't, the NCAA don't control. But yeah, but that comes from outside the school.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so there's a limited number of those that we get. That's the one that, Greg went in there and asked about putting the purple stones on there. And so we were the first ones to do it like that with the purple around there, which looks good because with the gold football, you got the purple and the gold. The middle one, the national championship ring, obviously, we wanted to put the trophy on there. It was something that's significant with that. And we also wanted to do the oval with that. It was something where, do a little different. I mean, Coach O, come on.
It's kind of got it's definitely got a Death Valley type aesthetic in terms of its shape language, right? I've been reading a lot of concept art books, like Tangled, Frozen 2 randomly, and they're always talking about shape language. And the gold on the edges, the oval shape, it evokes that feeling of Tiger Stadium and how it kind of expands it.
Yeah, and so it also, with the oval and with the things on the outside, it's always pushing your attention towards the center. And so we wanted to make sure that the LSU that stands up across the trophy was something that really stood out. And then the SEC championship one, why not put the helmet logo on there?
I mean, that's
an iconic, that's an iconic brand that we have. So for us, that was something that we talked about. And we wanted to put that one in there. That one's got the 16 stones around the outside for the 16 SEC championships. And so there's some little nooks and crannies as you go through and you look at it. That with reading Cody's story, it's got further explanation of why some of the design choices were made.
So which one has hold that tiger?
The national championship one.
And that
that's what I'm excited to see is all the detail work around the side, because we've seen the faceplates, but we haven't gotten like a long concerted look at the what y'all threw in over there.
So that's what you're gonna be doing during the break.
Well, I was actually gonna wait and do it live on air.
Oh, okay.
Do like a little live reveal, so that my instant reaction is legitimate.
So we're brought to you daily by All Star Toyota. Remember, All Star Toyota is online at allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. You can find them there on the corner of Goodwood and Airline. Coming up, we'll talk to Christian Lacouture. Christian, for you guys, Derek, we talked to O yesterday. We talked to Mickey last week. We've talked to a lot of people around the program, and his name keeps coming up for having success on the recruiting trail. Can you give us a little insight on the young coach and what he's accomplishing inside the building?
I don't believe his best recruiting was done with a football player in the last couple of months. He got engaged last week.
Oh,
hey, speaking of rings,
how about that?
Just saying.
Congrats.
Life is good
Just saying.
for the former defensive tackle, but he's doing work for you
but like
guys,
seriously, how's his football recruiting going?
He's really good. He's really good. We have what's called Power Hour, where the staff comes in and you get Coach O on the phone, and so that's one of those things that's challenging. It used to be where everybody would be in one room, and it would almost look like the floor of the stock exchange, where everybody's just
flying around.
Yeah, doing everything they can to compete to get somebody on the phone, and so now with the socially distancing rules and things of that sort, it's a little bit more of a challenge to get everybody kind of close together. But Lakacher's the guy who's always barreling in, handing Coach O a phone.
Good. We will talk to Christian at 8 a.m. this morning. We will unveil the championship rings here live on OTB next. Come back with us.
Off the Bench with Kalana and T-Bob.
All-Star Toyota brings you OTB Daily here. Remember All-Star Toyota. Lee Carney and his crew. Stop in and see him. The service department's open this morning. Tommy Wagaspack and his team are ready for you this morning over at All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge. I need to stop in for the 25,000-mile oil change. I'll be doing that at some point this week, but that is simple to do. If you want to log online to schedule that service appointment, you can. If you want to stop in and see them and drive up, that's you can do that as well. All online, allstartoyota of BatonRouge.com.
If they gave out championship rings for great local car dealers, the All-Star family would be stacking rings because they're the best. And if you don't believe me, go check it out for yourself. Go to allstartoyota of BatonRouge.com and recognize that they can find you whatever you need. You need a brand new car. You've been wondering, you want to treat yourself, they got you. Whether you need a truck, a hybrid, minivan, whatever. You want a Toyota certified used vehicle where you're going to get warranty coverage, maybe just need a rent for the weekend? Go to allstartoyotabatonrouge.com, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at murphylawfirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences. but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge, no matter what crime you're
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Zoom in, Danny.
And 3 rings were forged in secret for the Tiger Kings in the ancient marshlands.
Derek, I see that you appreciated that.
Beautiful hardware. Yes, he did.
Look,
he was a fan.
Jordy will tell you, like the first 2 years, I paid no attention to it, and then like
The Lord of the Rings?
no, to the whole bit. The
Game of
morning
Thrones?
bit. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was talking about Lord of the Rings. Yes.
the
but
Friday,
one
Friday
and the
morning
same.
bit, and so I guess it was before this season. Jordy and I were someplace. We were talking with somebody, and they mentioned about how he liked it. I think he might end up like sponsoring it or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to go back and listen. So I started listening to like old ones, and then as the season went on, like Saturday morning game day, like we would go do whatever, and I would listen to it on the podcast on Saturday mornings. And then as it got to the end of the season and like the whole reveal, like
You like that? It was you the entire time.
It was fun.
It was the binder retelling his grandchild underneath the tree, in a scenic setting. It was the binder retelling the story of how the Swamp King
You
rose
had to love the character of Lady Moscona.
to the top of the cast iron throne.
Had to love that one.
I
Yeah.
Okay, I have not
Trying to
looked
serve you up here.
I have
bud.
not looked at these rings yet, though. I remain disciplined in the commercial break.
You
which
did.
one?
I did not.
Which one should I grab first?
My favorite is the SEC. I got to be honest. I mean,
it's
just
okay.
Like,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I just
Jordy, this
as
is
far
what I
as
can
the
tell you.
design
We're gonna
process
start.
goes.
This is what I can tell you.
So, would you ever wear these?
The odds of that are not very good.
Okay. The
Let me see
devil's
which
in
one
the
you got.
details
So
here.
you've got the SEC.
I've got the SEC ring.
Right.
Danny, maybe, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because these are my favorite parts of rings. Like, the front is what draws you in. That's beautiful, but I always love the detail work around the edges. We got one team, one heartbeat above the last name where there's also a little mini LSU helmet. That's beautiful. Also, shout out one team, one heartbeat. How about Nick Saban dropping a one team, one heartbeat? Did you
Yes.
did you hear that?
Imitation
Derek?
is the most sincere form of flattery.
That was good to see.
And then
That was good to see.
Mirrored on the other edge of the ring, you got a little Go Tigers, and that sits above what is a carving of the SEC trophy, along with the final score of
I
the
love the
SEC
gold.
championship, which is 37-10. That'll live so nice. Eat it, Kirby. And then obviously you just can't beat that tiger head on the front. I mean, I'm surprised y'all didn't go with Toonses, but I think y'all made the right choice.
Good Lord.
How salty would
All
everybody?
right, so you got to put that. Now, one other thing I'll mention on that is on the inside of that ring, which I know you can't see.
Oh, look at
But on
that.
the inside of the
Wow,
ring
look at
is that's the scores of all of our
SEC
conference
games.
games and the SEC championship games.
Okay, so I am holding right here the national championship ring from the college football
That's right.
playoff.
That's the college football playoff championship.
So on the inside of this ring, T, I've got the SEC score, the Oklahoma score, so the first playoff, and then the national championship score. And so give me a little background here, Panamsky. I see the purple LSU on the side, which is great. The SEC championship logo.
Yeah, on the side of that, you're going to have the conference championship recognition.
Let me see one of those.
There'll be the recipient's last name, the perfect season record, which is we went 15-0. That's pretty cool. We want to make sure we put that on there.
Right.
And then the national championship logo, national championship game logo. on
So
there.
I was confused yesterday. So you only get this from
Must be a listener.
You only get this from the college football playoff.
Big fan.
You only get this in the playoff if you win the championship, right? This is not just a you won a semifinal
No,
ring.
no.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that yesterday. Yeah, this one's just kind of classic. Nothing too particularly special. You could tell that this is more designed by them.
Yeah, I was going to say there's some confinement that you have in the design with that. They have a kind of a standards that they have there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No, it looks better than our old one that came from the BCS, which my buddy Josh Jurasic yesterday was saying basically just looks like a class ring. Now this next one.
This does not.
No, that does not. And that even has some echoes of the 07 ring, which had the
sure
two
does.
BCS trophies on it. And instead, this now has the first, what I lovingly refer to as the Golden Joint. It has the first Golden Joint trophy on it that Baton Rouge has earned.
You will not refer to it
No,
as
you
that.
will not.
I
You
will
will not. Clearly, let me be clear. This is my opinion. This is not the school's. But it's been my opinion since day one they revealed that trophy.
I love the accent of the gold and the silver side by side.
Sure.
The state of Louisiana is a great touch, and to me, my favorite part of this ring is the is Tiger Stadium on the side.
Yeah.
So Danny, if you want to zoom in here, I don't know where you're coming from.
We
right there.
we wanted to make sure that it's not just about the team; it's about the support that the team gets from the fans in the stands. So that on the side
Hell
of that,
yeah,
when you
that looks
see
awesome.
Tiger Stadium on the side of that, that's kind of the representation of the fan base that came out and supported us throughout the season, and we wanted to make sure of that.
Another hold that Tiger across the side, and then on this side above Tiger Stadium, you see the one team, one heartbeat.
I
You see
love
the
that.
national championship side on the side here.
I mean,
with
Hold That
the,
Tiger's been core to the Coach O initiative. So for that to end up on a ring is very appropriate.
It was his call as a recruiting coordinator when he was first hired as a defensive line coach and as a recruiting coordinator. It's how off the bench really became. It was our first viral moment, Collada and the Prince.
That's right.
Our first viral moment that we ever experienced on morning radio was that. You want to come clean on this? Should we come clean on the whole thing? That it was.
Yeah, I mean,
we staged it.
Yeah.
So what we were going to do was we
Doing
had
my job then.
I quit.
Doing my job now.
We had Ogeron on every Tuesday morning when he was off of football.
Now
the
one
ring's
thing that
stuck on my
actually
finger.
was his when you called. That was what was on the phone.
Sure, that was.
But we got a
That was the
recording
first
of
time.
that
Right.
where where when we called, it wasn't as though the phone just simply went to that. We took that, moved it around. But that's how his phone did answer.
Odds are he would have probably picked the phone up if it was been ringing. So we had to tell him. So the first Tuesday that Ogeron gets the LSU job, obviously Panamsky and I are just ecstatic about the fact that he's now on the staff and that he's going to be a part of representing LSU. And his first Tuesday that he's at work, we
talked to him that morning.
Yes,
and he was driving to the airport to get on a plane to go see Arden Key.
That's right.
Always be recruiting.
Yeah, and
Always.
so we had joked with him about, hey, we want to get you on the radio. He's like, I can't. I'm going to go. So Jordy and I were like, it'd be cool if we played the bit where we tried to call him at 7:30. He didn't answer the phone,
and it goes to his
Goes to his
voicemail, and that's what he does. Hey, this is Ed Ogeron. I'm out recruiting the best college football players in the country. If you want to go to LSU, hold that Tiger.
Yeah.
And then it became the moniker. And then when he was the head coach, and I guess that's you and him working together. When you get the commitment, you put out the hold that Tiger. Great job on the.
Hold on though. There's one detail
on
that
the
we haven't
design.
mentioned yet. On the inside of the national championship ring, speaking of slogans, it's right there, etched in beautifully. The LSU standard of performance.
Nice.
What Coach O's always talking about. Listen, I can't remember because his coaching tree
Bill
so
Walsh.
prolific. That was Bill Walsh that he got that from. LSU standard performance. Hold that Tiger. One team, one heartbeat. It's
you know
all
what's
there.
crazy? You two have put my ring on before I have.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, no, and it wasn't coming off a middle finger for
Where
a
do we
second. I
pick-
thought I was going to have to keep it.
Where do we pick ours up?
This
how
is,
many did y'all make? How many were handed out?
That would be a Greg question.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact answer to that. I will say this though, as specific to the LSU standard of performance, there was some initial talk about putting it on the outside of the ring, but we decided that we wanted that on the inside of the ring, just because the standard of performance is an internal thing.
Yes.
That we, as the program, we set what the standards are, and we wanted to make sure that we kept that inside the ring as something to kind of remind everybody that when they look at it internally, that we're the ones that set the standard of performance.
The head coach was here yesterday. He was talking about the ring ceremony, and it's always been about celebrating 19, but turning the page to 20.
Mm-hmm.
You're inside that building every day. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, there was some really good kind of nostalgia, to see Justin and Clyde and Lloyd, Stephon Sullivan, guys that Adrian McGee, guys that came back, and we were able to see them for a little bit. It was really nice to do that. But there's no question that when the front row of a team meeting is usually all of your seniors, and a lot of those guys weren't able to come back because of COVID and travel and things of that sort, and then to look in the back of the room and see Eric Gilbert, Elias Ricks, Marcus Dumerville, and see how intent they were watching this. Yeah, there's no question that we're going to prepare regardless of what's coming our way. That's just Coach O's way. And so there was a little bit of a I guess you'd say some closure to some things.
Yeah.
And then so what we did was yesterday we FedExed all the guys that were on last year's team and the coaching staff that were on last year's team that weren't here. We FedExed all those guys their rings. So they should be all getting that this morning.
Have we confirmed the packages landed in Cincinnati?
It was the first one.
Please. And real quick, before we get out of here, can we clear something up? Is it Eric or Arik?
Arik.
It is Arik.
Yes.
Everybody in your building talks about him as far as he's going to be a game changer. You have covered recruiting, and now you've been in LSU and seen a lot of these freaks walk through the building as freshmen. He's got to be he feels like a Stingley, Fournette type generational talent, right?
Yeah, and great kid. I mean, he wants to learn more and more about football every day. Carter Sheridan, who's one of our analysts, who was on the Saints staff and knows a lot about what the Saints did with Jimmy Graham. We got a lot of different people that have been around a lot of successful things, and Carter's like, wow, like I mean, he was with the Saints when Jimmy Graham was at his pinnacle.
Sure.
And he's like, wow, he's like this kid's got it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really fun for us when we finally get a chance to see these guys go out there and do that, because I know Eric was not able to go through spring, so that it would have been some opportunities there that he wouldn't have been able to participate, but as luck would have it, nobody really participated.
For sure. Somebody that has seen the operation of big time college football up close like you do every day, can you give us an idea what the analysts mean to the coaching staff? What the amount of pressure, but the amount of the workload that they take off of them?
Well, and it's all a collaborative process. So when you've got the amount and the volume of information that we're able to bring into those meetings, and you have guys that are organized, like Steve's incredibly organized, and Bo's incredibly organized, and then Coach Mack on special teams is incredibly organized. When they're able to bring those reports in, understand what they're reading, because sometimes if you just come in with statistics, it can all of a sudden just get
overwhelming,
really crazy with that. But if you're able to understand that and make sure that you got everything kind of measured out, there's no doubt it saves working a lot, saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because when we do have access to the team, we need to be as prepared as possible, because you don't have unlimited time with those guys.
It just seems like every week when he stops by, he mentioned Callaway yesterday. He mentioned the mini Pete Jenkins defensive.
Manny Michaud.
Michaud a couple of weeks back. I mean,
Manny's a stud.
Christian.
Manny and Tommy Moffitt were college roommates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Carter Sheridan is another one.
Carter's phenomenal. Tyler Tettleton's been great. And then, guys that have been around for a couple of years now, like Kevin Coyle and Aaron Schwanz and Mark Hudson. Coyle was a defensive coordinator in the National Football League. Hudson was, offensive line coach in the National Football League. These guys they're able to come in and help us out and do a lot of great things.
Shout out to Greg Stringfellow.
Can me and Jordy get to
Louis
be
Bourgeois and Panamsky for the design of the rings. They're beautiful.
Breakdown film.
Yeah, we can do some stuff.
You break down films.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we'll be the movie breakdown.
I've already applied for my position. People in-house know what I want. Everybody knows the position I want, all right?
Kingmaker has a role to play. I mean, there is a very clear role for him.
And it fits me perfectly. Panamsky, it's great to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Congratulations, man. Can we do this a year from today? Unveil the 2021 championship rings?
Have you already started designing the next ones?
We have.
Yeah, there you go. Hell yeah, dude.
We've spent the last 3 months while these things were sitting in a box talking about what the next one should look like.
I think this is something that a lot of people out there would agree with. You know what's better than one golden joint? 2 golden joints. I mean, let's go.
Christian Lagerture, 8 a.m. Come back. We'll close out hour 1 next.
Off the Bench with Kalata and T-Bob.
Brought to you daily by Coy's Diesel. Remember, online at coysdiesel.com. Get in touch with Coy today if you need help on your light, medium, or heavy-duty diesel truck. Coy can help you out with 24-hour roadside service. You can schedule a service appointment over at Coy's Diesel Service Department, located in Gonzales on Airline Highway. Online, coysdiesel.com.
Coysdiesel.com, coysdiesel.com. Great camera work there, Danny. Coy's Diesel. Look, if you need any diesel vehicle needs, it's right there in the name. Coy is spelled C-O-Y, so C-O-Y-S diesel.com. Maybe you got like an older diesel vehicles, right? Early 2000s, late 90s. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the part that I need. Well, go on the website, and right there you can shop by vehicle. There's a year, make, model, drop-down menu. If you need financing, they got your back. You need 24/7 emergency roadside assistance, they got your back. For all your diesel needs, coysdiesel.com.
Sports will be back. But for now, we're all rooting for a different kind of hero.
Let's embody the best parts of sports.
Teamwork, sacrifice, resilience. One goal, together.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
And to get his perspective, Matt Flynn joins the show, hanging with Hester and Hanny, weekdays from noon to 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, beautiful jewelry for LSU football that was handed out last night. Appreciate Derek Panamsky for stopping by inside of our studio, letting us get a glimpse of what all three rings look like, all beautiful in celebration for what could be argued as the best college football team of all time, as the Tigers 15-0. Last season capped off with a national championship run in Clemson in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome versus Clemson in that early January night. So Panamsky stopping by, letting us see what the rings looked like that were handed out last night. Coming up in hour 2, we'll talk to Christian Lacouture. He'll stop by. We'll talk to Christian about LSU's success on the recruiting trail, what his role is in this LSU machine as the Tigers are getting prepared for another season. Tom Hart in hour number 2. Have you seen the national ESPN radio shuffle that they announced yesterday? Luckily for you here in the Baton Rouge market, you won't be so much affected by it because in some of these discussions and negotiations that we've been in over the last 6 months, and Gordy he's been neck deep in them. Sorry about that, G. I mean the neck joke on the negotiation. I really didn't. I didn't even mean to go there.
I just realized.
I didn't even mean to go there.
Hey, so he's been not very deep.
He's been.
That's what you're saying. He's been like actually non-existent in these conversations. Is accidentally what you said.
He has been deep in negotiations.
Okay,
Forget the puns. Forget the
opposite.
puns. Right. He has been. He's been deep in negotiations, talking about some of the changes that we had here in the Baton Rouge market. But when you talk about ESPN affiliates, regularly Baton Rouge is used as an example, in the mid-markets of
Thanks
successful.
To y'all, our wonderful listeners
absolutely.
And advertisers.
Absolutely. Because of the listenership, because of the support for the station, and because of the local programming. I mean, when you look at a mid-market, you rarely see so much local programming as you do here in Baton Rouge. I mean, we've got morning drive, we've got lunchtime, we've got afternoon drive, we've even got the evenings now. So you won't be affected by this much, but there is a huge shuffle on ESPN National. And it's going to crank up on August 17th. And former NFL player Keyshawn Johnson, NBA analyst Jay Williams, and SportsCenter anchor Zubin Mehenti will be the three-headed lineup to replace Golic and Wingo as the lead off to ESPN's morning to be called Keyshawn, Jay, and Ruben between 6 and 10 a.m. Eastern. Dan Le Batard loses an hour. Lebs and Stugotz lose an hour, so they'll go from 10 a.m. to noon on the Eastern time zone. And then Mike Golic Jr., I guess the big out here is Mike Golic Sr. is out. Trey Wingo is out.
We knew that
Mike
Wingo wanted to
Greenberg
leave.
is coming back, and there's no place for Golic Sr.
And I'm never someone who I've never been a regular Mike and Mike listener.
Sure.
Obviously, because this show I was never a Golic and Wingo listener, but I did see a Jason Barrett tweet, I think like a couple weeks ago or something, and it was just talking about the eternal likability of Senior. I mean, that is a man, like that's how you last as long on that stage in that time slot as he did, is because he's just one of the most likable guys in the world. You wake up, you hear him talk, you're kind of put in a good mood. So yeah, it's pretty shocking because I assumed that he just didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. But it maybe looks like that wasn't the case. Like they didn't have a slot for him, and that's a bit surprising. But he has nothing to be, or he can be upset, but he's nothing to be ashamed of. Right, his career in radio speaks for itself. He is a legend, and I mean that truly. Look, I don't think Wingo ever really worked necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think so
from what listeners and other people that have enjoyed that show have kind of told me, and I know that Wingo wanted out, but. Surprising shift. I don't know. I mean, my favorite show is Le Batard. You know that, and I think you're in agreement. And I thought that was killing it. So I'm surprised that they lose an hour.
Well, it surprised me, too, from taking an hour from them. When you look at the digital properties, they lap everybody at ESPN.
Yeah.
I mean, like they run circles around everybody up there as far as the digital properties go, which means a lot to media companies.
Yeah.
I mean, to see your digital products, what's moving is going to tell you a lot about the future and what is stable.
But like you said here, I mean, it's not really going to affect us because of our wonderful support from everybody out there. We are allowed more local programming than really anybody else that I know of. And so you'll get all your LSU, Saints, and Pelicans talk 24/7 here on 104.5.
Yeah, really. I mean, outside of our state, ESPN Baton Rouge is celebrated as one of the big success stories as affiliates, and it is due to you. So thank you very much from everybody over here at Guarantee Media 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're listening in the New Orleans market,
dude.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
very
the
much.
huddle is down. Have you seen the guy from 90 Day Fiancé that doesn't have a neck?
No.
The Huddle is now comparing him to Gordy.
Oh.
And it's unbelievable. Danny, we're going to have to get this up next hour on the stream.
Christian Lagertür coming up.
Off the Bench with Collada and T-Bob.
We're brought to you by Secure Shredding and Recycling. Online, SecureShreddingAndRecycling.com. Get in touch with Gaines Garrett this morning. Remember, over at Secure Shredding and Recycling, they serve the entire listening area. That's Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, New Orleans. You can get in touch with them. They are your document destruction specialist. They offer drop-off shredding. If you're into mobile shredding, they can help you out with that as well. Their mobile trucks are on the road every single day. And if you're a current resident or business owner in Louisiana, their team of experts, professionals, can help with their on-site document shredding services that are fast and convenient. Online, SecureShreddingAndRecycling.com.
SecureShreddingAndRecycling.com. SecureShreddingAndRecycling.com. Go there today. They are local LSU grads. They're going to give you a better rate than the national guys will, and they're going to give you better service, because that's ultimately what document destruction is. It's a service business. They're there to work for you. Go to SecureShreddingAndRecycling.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You've probably heard me talk about my love of whiskey, which is why I am thrilled to announce that.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org.
This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. on Wednesday, July the 8th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see mostly cloudy skies with a high of 88. In case you missed hour one of the show, you can catch that up at the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com, brought to you by Carriages. Coming up in hour two, LSU graduate assistant coach Christian Lagertür joins us at 8 a.m. in the SEC Networks. Tom Hart comes aboard at 8:30. Would You Rather Wednesday as well in hour number two. Follow today's show by joining us inside the 104.5 ESPN Huddle app, brought to you by Bayou Ford. On Twitter and Instagram at OTB_ESPN. Watch us live on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the Off the Bench channel and hit the notifications button. Hour number 2 of OTB starts right now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome down to hour 2 Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 100.3 ESPN Radio New Orleans, 94.7 ESPN Alexandria. Online, 1045ESPN.com. We are on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube Live. We're on your smart speakers. We're going to talk to Tom Hart of the SEC Network, ESPN, and the XFL coming up at 8:30 this morning. Derek Panamsky stopped by from LSU football. Panamsky had a pocket full of jewelry. He came in with the 3 rings handed out last night to LSU football's championship run in 2019. 15-0. Heisman Trophy winner, Thorpe Award winner, Coach of the Year, Broyles Award winner. All types of awards celebrated with 3 masterpieces of rings to remember the season. Christian Lacature, who we have heard a ton about over the last couple of weeks from his counterparts, from his co-workers and his boss, Ed Ogeron, who is here with us every Tuesday, has been speaking very highly about Christian Lacature, the former standout defensive lineman at LSU, turned graduate assistant coach now, seems to be experiencing a ton of success both as a recruiter and as a developer. Joining us now here on OTB. Christian, good morning, man. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Doing good. How cool was last night?
Man, let me tell you what. It was a great experience for everybody there. It was a great way to top off what an incredible season. All the hard work, dedication from everybody. You know, like Coach O always says, one team, one heartbeat, pulling together and getting the job done what we set out to do. And it was a great way to top it off. But you know what? We got to get some more. So now, we put it, to the past. It's a great moment. We put it to the past now, on to the new year, and we're getting ready to roll.
Real quick, before we close that book on last season, especially in this interview, because I want to talk to you about your current guys, the recruiting trail success you're having, and an outlook for next year. You've been around football a long time. How good was last year's team? How special was last season?
I'll tell you what, it was the closest knit team I've ever seen. The workouts, the player only workouts, them setting everything up, doing what they need to do on their own. The leadership on that team was outstanding, and you could see it as the weeks went on throughout the year, holding everybody accountable, doing the right things all the time. I mean, we're in Atlanta for a whole week. We're in a hotel in a big city, and we had no problems. It was something that was great to see. Everybody holding each other accountable, doing everything they could do every day to maximize their potential and make the day what they need to do. And it was a great thing to see. And we knew we had a great team this summer, but as the years went on, as the weeks went on, and you could see them growing and coming closer and working to get to their goal, it was such a great thing to see them develop. And, they worked together and, they got the job done.
Coach O coached you as a player and then gave you the opportunity as a young coach. He said here 2 weeks ago, after LSU received another commitment on your hard work, that he could not imagine going to work without Christian Lacature next to him every day because of what you bring to the operation. Can you talk about what the last couple of seasons as a young GA has taught you about the coaching game?
A lot. Seeing this side of the game compared to being a player, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of hard work. And it comes from a lot of people. And everybody's got their role. You got to do your job every day. And going to work with a man like that, I see him as like a father figure to me. Every day he pushes me to be the best person I can be every day, the best coach, and being somebody that can make sure that can present the best thing to our players, me, Coach Johnson, all our defensive line coaches, and every coach here. But for me to work with him every day and have him as a role model, as a guy that, I look up to as a defensive line guru, as a guy that, is a great coach, is a great person to be around, a hard worker, the mentality of being an amazing coach, and being the best you can be every day, and just having a guy like that in your corner and saying great things about me. I mean, it's very humbling, but it's also a great thing to have and a great resource to have every day going to work. And like I couldn't imagine going to work every day without Coach O, because he pushes me to be the best person every day, and I can't thank him enough for that.
Christian, it's kind of crazy, man, when you look at your experience as a player into being a coach at LSU. You have seen like the full transition from the Miles era into the Orgeron era. You've seen the program transform. I mean, I remember a game where I don't think you'll had a defensive line rotation, right? Every defensive lineman's playing like 90% of the plays. And now, going into this year, you have one of the deepest D lines that I can remember. Do you have any great takeaways of observations as someone who lived through that transition period?
It's next man up. That's what we always talk about. If a couple games I had to play 80+ snaps.
That Florida game in Gainesville, I don't think he came out.
That's the one I'm thinking of. That's the exact one.
No, that's the first one that came to my head too. I promise you. I didn't come out the whole game, but I knew the situation we were in. We had some guys hurt, and that's what it was. And like we always talk about, next man up. It doesn't matter what the situation is. That's the way that we practice. I'm telling you guys, the way that we practices are harder than the game. So when the game comes, it's easy. So it doesn't matter if I played every snap or whatever the situation is, we're rolling. And that's how it is. But the preparation that we have during the practices and how we train our guys, the games are easy. We put those guys in situations like that, so when the game comes, those situations are easy. It's not like you haven't seen it in practice.
So expound on that a little bit. How exactly are the practices run? Like what is going on out there? What are y'all doing in order to push people to those limits that the game then feels easier?
Well, just like transition. Transition, going from drill to drill. Not walking around. Running to the next drill. Going through the whistle. It's really, the conditioning factor. I think Coach will talk about. We don't run after practice, but we do. Like what it might be 10-play drives or whatever it is, man. Yeah. Just to keep pushing ourselves every day, so that conditioning level stays up. And I'm telling you guys from my personal experiences, I was never tired in the game because I knew Coach O and the coaching staff when I was a player pushed us in practice to make sure when the situations came, we were rolling. We were ready to go. We weren't tired. So when the fourth quarter came, we were prepared.
Christian,
and you could see that during the season.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Christian Lacature joining us here, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, graduate assistant defensive line coach for the Tigers here joining us for a couple of minutes. You seem to love the recruiting part of the job.
Oh, yeah. I got that from Coach O. I'll tell you what. That's honestly building that relationship with these players and kind of showing them what LSU is like, what we can provide for them. And I think the thing that I can show them is my personal experience being a player here, being in that room, being a defensive lineman in that room, showing the parents what it's like to be an LSU Tiger, an LSU defensive lineman. And I think a lot of people have really bought into that. And, for me, going into this, I want to, maximize LSU and show them what it's like. And I honestly, it's like a second full-time job for me. I love it. I embrace it. And I love getting LSU the best defensive linemen and the best players that we possibly can have. And, they might call you late at night. They may want to talk to you. And I love that. They want to know more about LSU. And, the rings last night, Coach, like those are awesome, man. Like y'all got 3 rings, whatever it might be. It's an amazing thing to be able to show off LSU and what they can do for you. And me being a part of this from a while back and being showing them the personal experience of what it's like to be an LSU Tiger and being that LSU defensive line room, the tradition, the excellence. And I think that a lot of families really buy into that.
Christian, what about this year's defensive line room? It looks stacked, and especially, like you said, nobody should have to play 80-plus plays this year. Where's your hype level at for this year's D-line?
I'm very excited. The potential in that room is outstanding. Like you said, we have a lot of depth across the room, so we should be rolling. I think we're going to be fresh. We're going to be ready to go. Everybody's going to be, like you said, not 80 plays. We got a lot of guys at a lot of positions, and I think it's going to be a great thing to see that, we got a lot of experience coming back as well. I know we, lost Rashard, Braden, and guys like that. But we got a lot of guys coming back that have a lot of experience, and it's going to be a great thing to see. I'm really excited. We got a lot of leaders in that room. A lot of guys, when this whole COVID thing happened, came together, and they worked out on their own. They prepared it. They did what they needed to do. And when times get tough, tough get rolling. That's what we always talk about.
Yep.
And our guys prepared themselves. So when they came back, I think Coach Hill said, not a lot of guys were out of shape. It was because of the preparation during this time of what they did when they were away. That's what we're talking about, leadership, making sure that you guys, when nobody's watching, what are you doing? And these guys did that. And it's a huge credit to them, to our players, and what they're doing during this tough time. And they're pushing themselves to make sure when the season's rolling and we're back together, they're ready to go.
How do you like the transition from Aranda to Pelini?
I love it. I love Coach Aranda, and he did a lot of great things here, and I can't thank him enough for what he did for me as a player and as a coach. But what Coach Pelini's bringing to this table is I'm very excited. This 4-3 scheme, attacking, getting up the field, making plays, it's aggressive. And I love it personally. I told our guys, if you can give me 1 or 2 series this year to play in, I'll do anything. I'll give you my left arm. I'm really excited to see. We only had 3 practices in the spring, but from what we saw, I was really intrigued. I was so excited to see, and our guys love it.
Yeah,
they love it. It's aggressive. It's an aggressive mentality, and our guys are really embracing that.
We were over at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and a couple of NFL scouts were telling us what they expect from Tyler Shelvin this season. As a guy who works with him every day, how good can he be?
Well, I'll say this. For Tyler, I saw him, my last year was his first year. The maturity of when he first got here to now is outstanding. He is a leader in that room. He, pound for pound, probably the most athletic guy I have ever seen. I'm not joking. Pound for pound, the most athletic guy for being that big and moving how he does and how strong he is at the point of attack. He's going to have a great year, and he had a great year last year, but he's coming back. He's got the experience under his belt. And what he can do for this football team, it starts in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It always starts in the middle of your defense. You got a big-time nose guard, you got a linebacker and a safety, but it starts with Tyler Shelvin and Apu, like guys like that. But what Tyler can do for this defense, it starts with him. It starts in the trenches in the middle. You got to secure the middle and then work out. But what he can do for this team, it starts with him. And he's done a great job during this time to prepare himself for another great year. And I'm so excited for him because I can't wait to see what he does. And when we come to camp, he's ready to go. He's excited. He's telling us, Coach, what can I do to get better? What can I do to get better? And he's always talking to us, calling us up. So I think he's going to have a great year, and I wouldn't expect anything less from that.
Talking to Christian Lacator here on Off the Bench, 10500 394.7 ESPN. So, Christian, we were teasing it yesterday. I guess Ethan Posick must have heard the tease. He then texted me. And he wanted me to make it clear that you are a liability on the golf course, especially off of the tee box. Would you like to defend yourself or to say anything to Ethan?
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you this, okay? I got Ethan going on golf, so if he wants me to expose him, I'll do it. But no, seriously, let me tell you what. He went golfing for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and it was just him and I think he shot a 15 on the first hole. And I gave him a couple mulligans, which is great. He's my guy. I love him. But let me tell you something. We got to hole 18. I'm not joking. Him and I legit parred the par 5.
Whoa.
He shot about 290, 300 yard shot, and him and I both. What? Second shot, we're right off by the green. We chip it up. He missed the birdie putt. Him and I both, and we parred. Nice. So the transition.
So in one day, he went from shooting 15 to then parred.
Yeah, I think. I'm sorry. It was the second time.
The
first time. Yeah, the first time he ever shot when we went together, he shot a 15. But the second time we went on the 18th hole, he parred. Legit parred. No mulligan. Mulligan. Nothing. That first shot he had. Now I'll say this: he's not at my level yet, but he's getting there. He's getting there. So make sure you tell him that.
He hears it. Congratulations on the engagement, right?
Yeah,
Congratulations, man.
I'll tell you what. At any game or anything I've ever done, that was the most nerve-wracking I've ever had. We get to New Orleans and it was 3:00 and I'm watching SpongeBob and I can't say anything. I'm so nervous. I didn't say one word. She's like, you okay? What's wrong? I think she picked up on it. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm thinking it's raining and I'm just nervous, man. I thought, we'd have to postpone it or something, but we got it done, man. And I'll tell you what, it was, I love her very much. She's amazing. And, as a football coach, she loves it, a lot of hours away from from home, but she loves it. she's a great girl. She's got an amazing family. And, I'm very excited for the future for her and I.
To be fair to Posick, too, he did end up texting. He's actually pretty good at golf, though, better than me, but I just started playing.
There you go.
So Ethan's coming for you.
A bright, shining star on the LSU coaching staff, Christian Lackiter. Last one yesterday, Coach O says he feels like they may have found a center in Liam Shanahan. Have you jumped him for his Boston Red Sox championship ring yet?
Oh, yeah. So when I first met him, I talked to him about that. I said, hey, man, Boston's strong. He kind of looked at me. I don't think he knew me or anything. And so I introduced myself. I said, hey, man, I'm from Natick. He's like, man, I'm from Middlesex County, too. And, man, we just hit it off. And, I told him, I said, I'm telling you, if you're from Boston, please tell me you're a Red Sox fan. And he was all for it, man. He's like, man, let me tell you what, Boston's strong, man. You know how it is. And it just made me happy because there's some Boston people that, or the Rhode Island area are Yankees people, and I just can't talk to them. I'm like, that's fake. You stay away from me. Yeah. But, he's an amazing person, man. He's a great guy to talk to. He's going to be a great person for us on this football team. He's an outstanding athlete, and I think he's going to do a lot of great things for us with Coach Craig and that offensive line.
Keep up the good work, man. Thank you for the time this morning, and congratulations on your success and continued as we will speak again soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Go Tigers.
Always.
Oh, yeah, Chris.
There he
Thank
is,
you, man.
Christian Lackiter. Check it in. Would you rather next?
Off the Bench with Jordy Culotta and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We are brought to you by Central Plumbing Company, online centralplumbing.org. Remember, 925-8552 is how you get in touch with Jay Payne, Zach Payne, Brandon LeBlanc, and the whole crew over there. They're on Greenville Springs Road, 925-8552. Online, centralplumbing.org. Residential or commercial plumbing services. If you need them today, you can get in touch with Jay Payne and the crew. If you need a generator, a full home generator sold and installed to you today online, you can find them at centralplumbing.org.
Centralplumbing.org. Go to centralplumbing.org today for all of your plumbing needs. David Adder for over 40 years, y'all. 4 decades in the game. Speaks to a couple of things, right? When you look at their humble origins to the fleet that they have now, that growth speaks to somebody that does things the right way, whose customers are consistently satisfied. That experience also means you can't hit them with a problem that they don't know how to solve. So any plumbing issue that you have, I don't care what it is, go with the experts. Go to centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, Your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Whiskey Wednesday. We'll chat with Taylor Calandro. Join us 3 to 6 for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, good stuff from Christian Lacouture, young defensive line graduate assistant for LSU. You've heard Coach Orgeron talk about him the last couple of weeks on his weekly stops here on Off the Bench, which, by the way, if you missed yesterday, great story from a young Ed Orgeron and his father sitting on a yard swing in Lafourche Parish down in South Lafourche, talking about a young Edo getting to Tiger Stadium for the first time.
How can that not inspire you when you look at how long that journey took, the adversity overcome, the failures that had to be processed and then improved upon? Yeah, we talked about third hour yesterday, but it's a definite it's an inspirational story if I've ever heard one.
He also answers some questions along the offensive line, like they may have found a center in Liam Shanahan and the competition at the right guard spot. Cardell Thomas was a name that came up.
Shameless podcast plug. Me and Brody Miller broke it down yesterday on the Hold That podcast, which the Athletic just published. But we compared the two hype trains. Who are you more excited for? Are you more on board the Racey McMath hype train or the Liam Shanahan hype train?
I got to be honest, right now I'm riding on the Liam train.
Whoa!
I
Okay.
am, because you know why? I know what Racey can do.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's almost an unfair question because like Racey's a proven commodity, and honestly, I would ride the Racey train simply because I love a guy who I think it really speaks to McMath's character. Look, he wants to be catching touchdowns. He wants to be in those top three receivers, right? He had to bide his time. They were just damn good first-round NFL picks ahead of him. But how did he respond to that, Jordy? He said, I'm going to be the best damn special teamer I can be. And, like, to me, that speaks to a selflessness. That speaks to just pure athleticism because of how good he was on special teams. So, yeah, I'm on board both hype trains, but I'll give McMath the edge.
I will also say this from an urgency standpoint of the hype train. Everybody better be riding the Liam Shanahan type train because you know what you can find at LSU pretty easily? A third wide receiver. You know what might not work out if Liam Shanahan's not your center?
Okay.
You might not have one.
I like that angle, dude. I'd not even consider that. You're right.
I mean,
you're absolutely right.
Think about the competition for the third wide receiver. You got names on names on names.
I mean,
think about
see,
the competition you got at center. They got their fingers crossed that the Harvard transfer works out.
Who was it that was it Coy Moore that was working out with Justin Jefferson in that video online yesterday?
Keyshawn Boutte, Trey Palmer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've got names. Gerard Jenkins is there. I mean, you've got names there. Would you rather Wednesday every week here on Off the Bench? Here's the latest edition.
Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come. This or that. 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 This.
Okay, which would you rather be?
Now, what superpower would you rather have?
The question is, would you rather date the blind or the deaf?
Would you rather drown or be burned alive?
Would you rather be overpaid or underrated?
Rather you just said thank you and went on your way.
All right. Would you rather be TikTok famous or YouTube famous?
YouTube famous all day.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Okay, so I knew that was going to be the consensus answer.
Any TikTokers making $7 million a year at 9?
I was wait, who's that? Is that
Well,
the,
And
is
they
that,
got YouTubers making. I saw a 9-year-old.
They do, but I
that
wouldn't
the
put
toy-
that past TikTok. I mean, there are 9-year-olds on TikTok who could probably.
Okay, Moose,
swing
so maybe
that.
you
I
shouldn't
mean,
watch so many 9-year-olds on TikTok.
Go back to 3 o'clock,
That's a
Musso.
little telling there. No, but I only brought this up because isn't the president putting TikTok in his sites now?
his crosshairs?
Reportedly, yeah. That maybe because
Sharing information with China?
It's a Chinese-owned company, and TikTok the other day got busted for automatically copying your clipboard and not saying anything about it. And so that means anything that you copy, TikTok now. But look, we have absolutely crossed the Rubicon when it comes to protecting our data and information. But it'll be interesting to see where all of this goes.
It is a point of pride here on OTB that nobody has developed a TikTok.
China, you'll never get my P-Hub premium password.
Would you rather? Moscona's famous quote: "If you're not on TikTok, you will be."
Or you won't, because the U.S. government's going to shut it down. We'll see. Would you rather eat a banana shaped like an apple or an apple shaped like a banana? I think there's a clear answer here.
I like the apple shaped like a banana.
100%. 100% I'm with you.
I mean, because I
like
love the
bananas, so-
taste of an apple.
I'd love it.
But it's a little tough. You know what I mean? It's,
What if you could just
but if I
peel
could
an
just-
apple
if I
and
could just
eat it?
peel an apple and eat it,
It'd
I'm
be
in.
awesome.
I'm
like
in.
right now, I got to cut off the top. I cut the top and the bottom off, and then I get a little like a vegetable skin, right? And it works really well to cut it up for the daughter, but
Okay.
But
I thought you meant for yourself.
no,
there for a
no.
moment. I was like, big man,
That
just
is a
grab
soft
the
take.
freaking-
I mean, I won't even rinse it off.
That is a soft
I'll
take.
eat the sticker if,
All
it,
right.
if it's
Yeah,
for
no,
me.
I eat the sticker.
But my grandpa used to eat the core. So there's been a lot
That's
of
hard
times.
there,
That
man.
is a
Dude.
man's man right there.
There's been a
bro.
lot of times where I've eaten the core just to prove to him that I was cool as well.
No way.
But also, doesn't a banana in a ball form just seem kind of miserable and messy a little bit? Like I'm not really into it.
Yeah.
Would you rather be able to teleport or have the ability to have one clone of yourself?
Teleport.
Yeah, right.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, if you have a clone, I mean, couldn't you just use them to do things
You
for
could,
you?
Yeah,
in
get out of
theory.
a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Danny, we
I
know
mean,
you with
that's-
all your women. The clone would probably be nice. You could keep everybody satisfied.
Well, 3 Fridays ago, huh, Dan?
But the only problem is if you make a clone, Matt. I mean,
I don't want to go to this meeting. I don't want to go to this
exactly.
doctor's appointment. I don't want to.
But when does he
send them off?
When does he just straight up like face off, steal your life?
Okay,
it's
see, that's a good point.
It's the same person. I mean, like it's an exact clone.
It
of
is you. It's a clone of
personality.
you, which means there's
So
a
I can
good
send him to do a
chance
Friday show, and he'll be able to maintain.
until
see,
he
that's
gets
the-
fed up with doing the BS work while you get to chill, and he's like, and he gets sentient, and he's like, oh wait, why don't I get to be the guy that chills?
So one
We're
Friday
exactly
when I'm
the
on the
same.
beach and I'm drinking a cool one,
He
on a
just
heater,
no-shows.
get a call from Gordy. Where the hell are you at? What do you mean? Where am I? I'm on the air.
No, you're gonna get sopranoed where you're gonna be chilling on the beach, and then everything's gonna go black, but nobody's ever gonna know because it's gonna be your clone that did you in.
Ugh.
Would you rather
I'll take the gamble.
have an infinite fridge or an infinite gas tank?
Infinite gas tank.
Yeah, infinite fridge is too tempting for the big guy. I'll get way too fat.
I'll go fridge.
Okay.
Gas tank.
Gas tank. Put me on the road.
Yeah, Danny does drive from New Orleans every day,
Yeah.
so that makes sense. Would you rather play only single-player games for the rest of your life or only multiplayer games for the rest of your life?
Not single. I'm cool with playing just a single player game.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I think I'm going to have to go multiplayer. Even though ever since I had kids, I've gone through a bit of a single-player revolution because you have to be able to drop the game at any time. So your wife and kids, or mainly your wife, doesn't want to kill you. But multiplayer games are the best.
Niquilis, guy at work, eats the core. He also eats the ligaments off the chicken wings. I don't even know what that is.
Stuff right at the
Do
top
I
of
eat
the
the
wing?
ligaments? I eat.
Stuff right at the top of the wing?
Like that chewy, top
Yeah.
part. Oh, okay. I mean,
Plenty of people
I'm
do
not.
that.
A ligament finds its way into the belly every now and then. I don't purposely seek them
you
out.
don't seek it. Yeah, you don't. You're like, oh, I can't wait for the friggin'
I ain't
tendon.
mad. I ain't mad if it ends up in there. But
What's
yeah.
the most appalling thing you've ever seen somebody eat? I'm trying to sit here and think of that. What's the most just like you've seen somebody eat it and been like, oh my God, did you just eat that?
I don't know if I would call it appalling. The one time
This is like, I might have to think about this.
The one
before.
time I
that's
ate
a
a bunch
tough one.
of chicken gizzard, I didn't like the texture.
Ugh.
It was a little chewy.
It sounds bad.
Yeah, it was a little chewy. It was on a houseboat deep in the swamp.
Oof.
Keeping it real.
That's some Dark Ages
It was
stuff
great
right there.
Shout out to the Barry.
I'm going to think about this one. Would you rather? We good?
Yeah, sure. We're good.
Tom Hart to Heart next. Tommy will probably have a good answer on that.
Off the Bench with Kalana and T-Bob.
Brought to you daily here by Donaldsonville Glass and Body, dgbauto.com. Remember, get in touch with Donaldsonville Glass and Body. If you need collision repair on your vehicle today, you can get it. Or if you need that 24-hour towing, remember in the month of July, if you mention Off the Bench, $250 coming off of your deductible. If you mention OTB, once you get to Donaldsonville Glass and Body, $250 deductible on collision. All you got to do is mention Off the Bench. They pick up the vehicle with a brand new tow truck that is manned by Nick Frederick. They'll fix the vehicle and return it to you. All you got to do is mention Off the Bench.
My uncle used to only eat the fat on steaks growing up. So it would just be a plate full of fat, no meat. Wow. That's pretty greasy. Pretty gross. You know what's not gross? The service you're going to get at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. I go there for all my car needs. Check engine light, oil change, glass, wheels, tires, brakes. You get the point. It's like everything you need. The collision repair, second to none. Best body shop in the state. Best body shop in the country, Donaldsonville Glass and Body.
Dear Sports is our love letter to sports. Share your Dear Sports letter with us. Call 860-506-6161 and read it to us. Or share a video or text using the hashtag Dear Sports on Twitter or Instagram.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Heart to heart every week here on Off the Bench. We catch up with the face of the SEC. He's also on ESPN and the XFL, working play-by-play. One of the best in the business. Tommy Hart. Every week here, he was on a family vacation, pulling out of the driveway last week when we talked to him.
Yeah, great kids.
How was the
No noise.
How was the trip, Tommy?
We survived. I mean, we went through our share of sunscreen, but it's never enough. So we left some skin behind, but we made it back in generally one piece, and brought some sand back with us, which is always fun. And we survived. That's the bottom line. I mean, once you become a parent, there are no more vacations unless you actually leave the kids behind. There are only trips. So we went on a trip, the kids went on a vacation, and we had a fantastic time.
That is a experienced parent right there,
Yeah.
T-Bob.
Yeah.
Take note, T-Bob, a young parent of two.
You're like my
that is good terminology to live by.
Yeah.
For future.
I'll be your sensei.
Tommy,
you're like my Clark Griswold.
Tommy, we had a little notion last segment. What is the grossest thing you've ever seen anyone eat? You've done some windshield time, some road time here, so maybe anything you've picked up at a gas station and eaten was public sentiment here. But anything that you have eaten disgusting or seen someone eating and been like, oh my God, he ate that?
Oh. So we're talking about a prepared dish or like 3-day-old pizza or
let's go prepared dish just for the sake of the argument. Yeah, for the sake of the argument, just prepared dish.
I can't really think of one right off the top of my head, but I was
gas
meeting up
station
with some
sushi.
friends. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with a little gas station sushi.
Tommy, a little dirty.
If it's your gas station, right? Don't go to a random gas station. Make sure it's yours. But years ago, I flew into Austin, Texas, and I was meeting up with a buddy, and he said, "Hey, man, just some other guys are at the house. Why don't you swing by, pick up some barbecue, and come to the house? We'll hang out." So he sent me to one of these, it was an off-the-beaten-path Texas barbecue place. And by the time I got there, the only thing they had was beef tongue. So I picked it up, and I brought it to the house, and everyone's like, "Hey, man, what'd you get?" I said, "Well, they're out of brisket. They're out of this." I said, "Tell you what, just enjoy, and we can talk about it later." And everybody absolutely loved it. And then they all agreed that if I would have told them before they ate it what it was, there's no chance they would have enjoyed it.
So what did it taste like? Was it like steak?
Yeah, it tastes like a very, very tender steak. It was a lot of spices in it, a lot of pepper, for example. It was delicious.
Is it actual tongue?
Yeah, and it's huge.
Yeah.
It is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
Look at the size of the tongue on that thing.
So thick. Wow. I've never seen anything like it. The only thing that grosses me out with gas station food, we mentioned in the break, anything pickled at a gas station.
Okay.
Anything that is just sitting there in that juice, that vinegar, whatever you pickle stuff in.
And you can unscrew the cap off of and dig in. And then...
Yeah, and there's a tier list to it. Like maybe eggs are the most acceptable. I still think that kind of makes me want to gag a little bit. But then you get into like pig's feet and stuff, and I don't know if I can go with a gas station that's offering these pickled goods.
I would go. I think what's worse from a pickle department is not the ones at the gas station. I would go whatever's pickled, standing in a jar behind the barkeep. Like if you're in a bar that has a huge jar, and by the way, the eggs, it's always like pink, right?
Yeah,
There's always
dude, it's
some
a weird
sort of
color,
non-natural color in there. So, yeah, it's usually pink. I would go grosser than the pickled, though, at the gas station because that you assume that kills anything that's really going to hurt you.
I tell you what's coming in.
I don't even look at the hot dog rollers anymore.
Nope.
Back in the day, I'd grab one.
Nope.
You can't even look at it anymore because you don't know how long they've been there. Yep. They look like, they look like my grandma's fingers.
And presentation means so much, and they fail every time. Public sentiment coming in on beef tongue. A lot of popular votes saying that it's excellent, that it looks like roast, it cooks like a beef roast, it tastes like steak. Tom Hart joining us here, XFL, ESPN, SEC Network. He's the face of the SEC
guys,
Network.
we're going to Jordy, I'm going international. I want you guys to be the first to know.
Breaking news.
We're going to add KBO to the resume. We're
What?
going Korean baseball in the coming weeks. Just found out yesterday.
Yep.
So we can probably time to replace the XFL as a descriptor, and we throw KBO on there.
Love it. So
I'm a big Doosan Bears fan myself, so congrats.
You've probably watched more of it than I have given your morning schedule, but I'm going to be right with you
Tom,
by the time we get there.
Boog Shambi and those guys, they just turned it into a radio show.
Yeah,
pretty
they're
much.
just
I
chilling.
mean, they just entertain. I mean, this could be right in your wheelhouse. How did you feel when you got the call?
I looked. My iPhone, because I always take early flights, I never delete an alarm. So the first thing I did is I pulled my phone away from my face. I pulled up the alarm page and made sure I still had like all of these 3 a.m., 3:50, 4:10 a.m. wake up calls set on my alarm page on my iPhone. So that's how I felt. I felt like this is going to be a schedule interrupter.
Yeah, it's going to be early calls for sure. The Ivy League is voting on the future of college football and fall sports today. How much do you think that means to the rest of the country?
Well, they're voting on their future, right? I mean,
yeah.
They weren't impactful in the basketball cancellations, except that they grabbed all the headlines because they did it first. But nobody said, "Wow, the Ivy League canceled. Now we have to." In fact, it was just the opposite. Everyone said, "Man," and granted, they turned out to be correct in their move. But remember, early March, the reaction was, "Oh, well, that was ridiculous. Why are they canceling basketball at this point?" I think it'll be interesting to see if they throw it to the spring and what they can accomplish by doing that. The Ivies have a new television contract with ESPN. I think it's a couple years old. It might only be 1 year old. So there's more income for them in football than they've had in the past. And if they can translate that and still keep it, that's important. To me, what's most interesting is as we work our way through how this virus is spreading and ballooning in so many different areas of the country, is what changes do need to be made at the Power 5 level. And what I'm looking at specifically is how do we protect football? Do we get to a point where we move all of the non-revenue sports and say, you know what, let's hold on to football in the fall as long as we can. Let's put our resources into that because that is an investment that we know is going to pay off. And let's push everything else to January, February. NCAA came out yesterday and said they'd love to see college basketball start 10 days earlier. I've got no problem with that. I think it's a good idea, especially if you're going to lose games between Thanksgiving and Christmas or Thanksgiving and New Year's. But I wonder, are we getting a return on the investment in terms of what kind of resources we need to spend to make sure we can play the game safely and take care of the student athletes on the floor? And so in that regard, we all know that football pays the bills. We all know that none of those sports exist without football. Let's make sure that we're protecting that cash cow first before we spend a lot of resources on all these other tests.
Yeah, and as far as the Ivy League TV contracts go, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Ivy League endowments can probably allow them to swallow that financial hit maybe a bit better than some of these other Power 5 and SEC schools. Tom, have you heard any of the rumors about Ohio State announcing that they might want to play a Big Ten-only schedule?
I have not. I haven't heard that. But I was just on the phone with an SEC coordinator yesterday on our drive back from the beach, and you know, his concern was, I'm coaching players every day. Obviously, they're voluntary workouts, so this is not quite literal. But, you know, I'm dealing with my players on a daily basis, and they know that things aren't going to be normal this year. They see the writing on the wall. They know we can only have a max of 20 guys working out together at any point, and they're wondering how is this going to be possible and what changes need to be made. And his point was, I just need to know the schedule as soon as possible. Whenever a decision is made, let us know so we can plan. I think what would be interesting is if these leagues, whether it be the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, or whomever, if they decide to go to a conference-only schedule, do you schedule out 12 games or do you schedule 9 and have 3-4 weekends to work with, maybe even 5 weekends to work with in terms of flexibility. Because if you're not selling 100,000 tickets, then you can make game changes. You can be a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
Time changes, schedule changes later in the calendar than you would if you're relying on people to get hotel rooms for multiple nights and drive in or fly in to come see their favorite team.
Tom Hart, the weekly segment here on Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria, face of the SEC Network, voice of the SEC Network. Appreciate it, Tommy. Have a good weekend. We'll talk next week.
Enjoy the beef tongue, boys. Thanks.
Yes, sir. There he is, checking in from the SEC Network. Tom Hart, we will close out hour 2 next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Kalana and T-Bob.
Brought to you daily by All-Star Toyota. All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. Stop in and see them today. Service, sales, and collision all open on the corner of Goodwood and Airline. Stop in and see All-Star Toyota. Tell them you heard it here on Off the Bench. If you're getting out of town this weekend and you want to rent a vehicle, remember over at All-Star Toyota, consider them a choice for your rentals. Miss Lisa Sessions over in the service department can get you set up with a rental. Online, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
Yeah, maybe you don't want a rental, though. Maybe you don't even know what you want, right? Deciding that it is a new time or that it is time for a new vehicle does not mean that you know what that vehicle will be. And so that's where this website becomes such a great resource. Now, of course, you can go into the dealership. You can help them be your guide in person. But if you want to do some base research first, go to the website. You can look at the new inventory, the used inventory, the certified used inventory. They got all the specials there. You need to schedule service, talk somebody live. They do it all. All-Star Toyota, BatonRouge.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank, invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences.
but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with
Schedule of college football news, and it's a Whiskey Wednesday. We'll chat with Taylor Calandro. Join us 3 to 6 for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, stick around. Hour 3 coming at you off the bench.
When you can afford it, then people want to give you stuff for free.
I mean, it's unbelievable, man. I mean, rich people pay for nothing. They don't pay for anything.
We were talking about Zion Williamson.
Think about LSU's coaching, LSU's coaches.
Yeah, like
they don't pay for a car. They don't pay for tuition.
Look, to be fair,
I get it.
If Ed O walked into my restaurant, I would want to feed him a meal.
Absolutely. And would almost and would tell him
if you should walk into City Cafe, where you get the best food around.
If I owned City Cafe like Squeaky, I would tell him if you came here once a week,
well, at that point, that's like an investment. I mean, that's getting a little advertising.
That's good for your business.
Yeah. No doubt. But whatever. We were just talking off air about Zion's new chain, which is unbelievable. It is an Infinity Gauntlet chain for all of you Marvel fans out there. Everybody knows how big of a fan Zion is of Thanos. And look at this. I'm going to go out on a limb here, y'all. I'm going to say that these are real diamonds. We said that the LSU rings may not be, which they are not. But this is real. I have no idea how expensive it is. But to my nerd heart, that is a thing of beauty. And if you actually flip it over, the Infinity Gauntlet is gripping a basketball. There it is, Danny. Great work, Danny, on the video production, as always. But, I mean, if that doesn't say that Zion is ready to roll, when combined with the fact that he's now 20, he's no longer a teenager, and he looks like he is in incredible shape, I'm so excited.
He looks like a statue.
He does.
I mean, he looks carved. Almost. I mean, he looks like he's fake when you see his just almost.
What do you think? Minute limit on Zion?
0 minute
during these
limit.
8 games?
0 minute limit. I think the only reason why he had a minute limit when he came back was because he was trying to work himself back into shape and making sure that everything was all right with the knee. But we're 4 months into this thing now. We're 4 months into the rehab. I mean, you look at you see what he looks like physically.
Yeah.
I got to imagine the work that he's put in to transform his body to where he is now has been a lot of game plan, a lot of hoop. So I imagine that he is in tip-top basketball shape, and that there will be 0 minutes restricted on Zion.
I guess it just depends on how much priority the Pelicans are putting into getting into this play-in game, right? Because remember, very famously, that first game when he was dominating, when he hit all, like they took him out when it mattered the most because he was at his minute limit. And I don't, and it's hard to say how long term their view is in all of this. But they're gonna need him if they really are committed to getting in the play-in. Jordy, I'm with you. They can't have a minute limit because they need to actually be better than they were during the regular season with them. They went 10-9 in the regular season. Now against some tougher teams, but 10-9 when Zion played. When I look at the schedule, if you want to guarantee a chance to play in to get into that series with the Grizzlies, I think you got to go 6-2 during the stretch, which is again why I look at those first 2 games as so important. Now it's always just going to be crazy to count on the Pelicans to win 6 in a row or 6 out of 8. So I mean, I don't know how confident I feel on it, but the first 2 games where you open up with the Jazz and then the Clippers, you got to get one of those 2. And I don't know, the Jazz looking a little vulnerable. Have you seen the ESPN reports? Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell not fans of each other. Apparently, there's a rift that they say It's like they're saying that they're cool now, but they're saying that they're cool only in a basketball sense.
Right. And they're saying that they're cool so many times that it's obvious that they're not.
It's fine. It's fine. There's no problem here.
Everything's good. Everything's good. Why is everybody talking about us? Everybody keeps talking about us. We're talking about y'all because y'all obviously hate each other.
Yeah.
And it's pretty evident. Yes. No, I feel great. And look, if the Pelicans They can't be having more than minutes restriction. This is what you're asking for. This thing is built for a team like New Orleans.
Yeah,
get in and see what happens, man.
up.
And you got the most dynamic talent in the tournament. So, hour 3, T-Bob's coming at you 9 to 10 o'clock. I'm back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
So you got Bruce Feldman coming up talking college football. We got more Zion talk. Got a bunch of Saints talk to get to. Stick around. Hour 3 of Off the Bench. OTBOT coming up next.
Off the Bench with Kalana and T-Bob.
Meet our team of attorneys at Murphy Law Firm before you hire an attorney for your injury case. Visit murphylawfirm.com and your decision.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org.
This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. Wednesday, July 8th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see mostly cloudy skies and a high of 88. In case you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch that up at the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. Brought to you by Carriages. Coming up today on OTBOT, the Athletics' Bruce Feldman joins us at 9:30. You can follow today's show inside the 1045 ESPN Huddle app. Brought to you by Bayou Ford on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN. And make sure you watch us live on YouTube right now. And when you do, make sure you subscribe to the Off the Bench channel and hit that notifications button as well. OTBOT starts right now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
What is going on, y'all? Welcome back Off the Bench. OTBOT on this hump day. It's Wednesday. We've answered some of life's most pressing questions today. How do you discern whether you would want a banana shaped like an apple or an apple shaped like a banana? Infinite fridge, infinite gas tank. Talked a lot of rings in hour number 1, and this hour we're going to be talking about a couple of teams that are going to be looking to join LSU in the ring department. I want to talk some NBA. I want to talk some Pels, some Zion, a celebration of Zion, as you will, as we continue to build up the hype train for the Disney bubble. As I did mention in hour 1, there's maybe a little bit of concern with the Disney bubble. Adam Silver was addressing it. He knows there's going to be more positive tests when people get there. His concern is that after everyone gets there, what rate do new cases develop? And then do you have an outbreak within? That could be the only thing that potentially shutters the league. But given that there is so much unknown in the future, and this is honestly how I'm approaching even the NFL and college football as well at this point, it's like there's so much unknown in the future that sitting here and thinking negatively or positively about what could be, it's almost like a pointless conversation because what will be, and there's nothing that we can do to change it. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to celebrate the potential return of the NBA and why you, as a Pelicans fan, should be so excited about it. We're also going to get into some Saints talk as, once again, we'll talk to him every week during the season, but I cannot recommend I can't recommend the site enough. NewOrleans.football. Nick Underhill. The man dives so deep into Saints topics that if you are a black and gold fan, like, you will find just a ton of content there, a ton of interesting conversation pieces. Talk about DeMario Davis a little bit, his leadership role. What is it going to be like as a defensive leader playing in front of no crowds? How does the NFL meta develop when all of a sudden you can hear everything that these guys are saying to each other? Right? I mean, you've always had to kind of change up hand signals because if you don't, you get burned, a la what the Saints did to the Cowboys last season. Does anybody remember that story? Basically, the Saints last year, they looked at, remember, Kellen Moore, OC for the Cowboys. They went back and looked at Kellen Moore's Boise State tape. Learned the hand signals that he was using there.
Yes, they did that.
Then they looked at the Cowboys film, recognized that he had carried over a lot of those hand signals, and they used that to dominate that Cowboys offense. Remember, that is a Cowboys offense
too,
that was there.
Saints offense wasn't great that day.
No, they were not.
It's a good thing they had that.
Hey, the defense stepped up last year when they had to. But yeah, that was a day where I think they held the Cowboys to 10 points. Around 300 yards, and that was a team that was averaging 30 and 500.
They were the best offense in the NFL, I'm pretty sure, coming into that game.
They were. You're absolutely right. So then the question becomes, okay, that was just hand signals. What now happens if and I don't know how this will be like. Do they pump in crowd noise if there's no crowds? Is that only on the television they pump it in? Do they pump it in live? I'm not entirely sure. But if they don't, you're going to be able to hear everything. Like, guys are mic'd up. You're going to be able to hear the checks. And if you're just on the sideline, you're going to be able to hear. And so how do teams adjust to that? Also, how do teams adjust to a truncated preseason? I think that actually works in the Saints' favor as well. So we're going to get to that. And also, bad news, boys. The Jadeveon Clowney hype train took a little bit of a hit. Clowney had the quote to Josina Anderson a couple weeks ago where he was kind of talking about, hey, look, like, I want to go to a championship team. I'm willing to take less. And now he has a quote saying that he believes that the money he is worth will materialize. And while it may, I'm not saying it won't, I don't think it's going to materialize from the Saints, at least not at his asking price. But I want to start talking about the guy who we just ended the hour talking about. Of course, I'm talking about Thanos, Zion Williamson, the man, the myth, the legend. Shout out Lee Anderson coming on the show back in the day and telling us he was going to be in New Orleans. Well, he ended up in New Orleans, and he has had one of the most legendary starts of an NBA player ever. And this is no exaggeration, right? I mean, let's take a look back, because it was an interesting Pelican season in what happened this year. There was getting that number one pick, getting that ping pong ball was maybe the apex of a lot of the Pelican fan experience, which has not always been a very good or consistent experience. That was a great night. What that led to was a ton of hype for the year. Zion, oh my God, it's going to be incredible. Then Zion gets hurt before the season starts. Then the Pelicans start 6-22, losing 13 games in a row. At that point, we even stopped talking about him because it was like nobody cared. Because how could you care? They were not giving you a reason to care. And so at that point, a lot of people wrote the season off. Now, some came back when Zion returned, but I don't know if everybody did. So what I want to do today is if you missed the return of Zion Williamson and what this 19-year-old, now 20-year-old, happy B-Day Z, what this 19-year-old did in his time in the NBA, how about this? This is from ESPN Stats and Info. In his 19 games, Zion Williamson scored 448 points. That is the most that a player has ever scored in their first 19 games. Who's he second to, y'all? Who do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
He scored 448 points in his first 19 games. That's the most ever, save for one player.
LeBron?
Michael Jordan.
That was going to be my second guess.
Even better than LeBron. Michael Jordan. If you are the company you keep, that's a hell of a company to keep. Speaking of which, Zion Williamson in those 19 games averaging 23.6 points on 56% shooting. He's on pace to join Shaquille O'Neal as the only rookies ever to average 20 while shooting over 55% from the field. How about that? Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, the first two names to come up when you're talking about Zion Williamson. He scored 20 points in at least 13 straight games. That is the longest streak ever by a teenager in the NBA. So nobody's ever done that at the level that Zion did. And it's the second longest streak by a rookie since Blake Griffin did it for 14 straight back in 2010, 2011. And here's where it maybe gets a little bit more interesting. Defensively, Zion, he was not solely responsible, right? As we'll talk about, the return of Zion does coincide with some improved defensive numbers for the Pelicans. And it's not just because of Zion, but it is partially because of him. It's also because things like Derek Favors got back. But how about his individual defense here? He held opponents to 22% shooting from the three-point line when he's the closest defender. According to Second Spectrum, that is the lowest percentage among the entirety of the NBA. Everybody who's defended at least 53s, he's just ahead. So that's the lowest. Who's in second place? Kawhi Leonard at 23%. So think about the names that we just mentioned when talking about what Zion Williamson has accomplished through 19 games in the NBA. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kawhi Leonard, and even Blake Griffin. I mean, how's that for company? So it's so rare for someone to be able to live up to the hype, but that is exactly what Zion has done this far. And what happens now when you give him a break where this break in action was actually longer than a normal NBA offseason. So he had essentially a full offseason to get healthy, to get in great shape, except the difference is the whole time he knows that he's going to be, when he does return, it's not like you're just starting game 1 of 82. No, you're starting 1 of 8, and you have to win if you want to make the playoffs. So he's had that added motivation while he's getting healthy. Remember, he got a waiver to be in that building and to work out and to rehab because he was injured. So what to expect from him here? The sky's the limit. I'm expecting pure dominance. I'm expecting this, ironically, I'm expecting this Pelicans team, and this could go either way. I'm expecting this Pelicans team to be better in these 8 games than they were in the regular season. They're fully healthy now. Derek Favors is back. He's been dealing with nagging injuries. As I said, he was one of the key pieces behind the Pelicans' defensive resurgence, along with Zion. How about this? Ever since Zion returned, coming into it, the Pelicans were 26th in defensive rating. In the games that he played, they were 8th in the league. Prior to Z's return, opponents made 36% of threes. It was good for 23rd in the league. Over his 20 games, make that number 33%. Second in the NBA during that stretch. So he has a quantifiable impact. The return of Derek Favors has a quantifiable impact. When the season broke down, J.J. Redick was out. He's played a huge role from a leadership on and off court standpoint. He's someone that these young guys, a guy like Zion, can go and ask anything about the NBA. J.J. Redick will have an answer. And then how about our guy Lonzo Ball? He was really getting it together, man. Maybe the most underrated shooter in the NBA, and that's not exaggeration. A man who once had one of the ugliest jump shots you've ever seen, almost Sean Marion-esque, if you will, is now shooting 40% from three. He's playing great defense. He's throwing half-court lobs to Zion. And really, when you think defensively, should that not be a strength of this Pelicans team? With Lonzo Ball, with Drew Holiday, with Derek Favors, and I know he's not the big guy to stretch that you would ideally want, but you have Melly to play that role in some minutes if you want to hit that change of pace. Like, this is a Pelicans roster that has some wiggle room. They have some versatility. And then so you have the great defenders in Holiday, Lonzo. It looks like Zion's in that number, Derek Favors. And then you got Brandon Ingram, man, the scorer, who Brandon Ingram's had a weird year. He was thriving without Zion. He struggled to find his foot a bit in the immediate return of Zion. It looked like he was getting it together when the season broke. So really maybe, because like it's kind of odd, right? How could I expect more consistency out of a 20-year-old that's played 19 games than out of a veteran, a young veteran, but a veteran nonetheless, like Brandon Ingram? And it's just simply because Zion's been nothing but consistent here at first. So I expect Zion to do well. I expect Lonzo, Drew, Favors to do well. Maybe it all hinges on the level of play of Brandon Ingram. But either way, this is a Pelicans team that they're going to have to be better than they were in the regular season. Like I said, they were 10-9 with Zion. I think they got to go 6-2 over this stretch. All I know is I am hyped to watch. And the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, I hope he comes out game one and they kick the Jazz's ass and then he wears it in the postgame and snaps when he's stepping off the press. That would be ideal. We'll see, though. We're just a couple of weeks away from the NBA returning. We're a few weeks away from the NFL returning, and we will talk some New Orleans Saints next here on OTBOT, 104.5, 100.3, 94.7 ESPN.
Off the Bench with Jordy Culotta and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Stop.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Ooh, I'm fired up here this Wednesday morning. YouTube can't hear it, though, but it's great. Trust me. I think Christopher Welch in the YouTube chat speaks for a lot of people. He says, I don't watch basketball, but I will watch Zion. Dude is awesome to watch. He says he'll also make some Pelicans games once they can get back in the blender in the Smoothie King Center. Yeah, man, that's called the Zion effect. That's why there is no sport that benefits more from having a transcendent superstar than basketball, and both in terms of marketability and in terms of on-court success. And just think about it in a from like a number standpoint, right? I love the Revisionist History podcast with Malcolm Gladwell. Of course, Malcolm Gladwell, he's like the Freakonomics guy. He's got all kind of books looking at things different ways. Well, he has some episodes where he compares strong link sports and weak link sports. Football would be a weak link sport. You have 11 players on the field. Same would go for soccer. The idea there is because one player only makes up about 8% of your guys on the field, that really how you improve in those sports is by making your weakest link stronger. Because it doesn't matter if 9 guys do the right thing. If the 10th guy screws up, then that can blow everything. The NBA, that risk is mitigated because one guy represents 20% of the players on the court. That is a strong link sport. That's why in the NBA, you can be bad, and then you get a legitimate superstar like Zion, and all of a sudden you're like relevant to the playoffs. And if it's LeBron James, you're suddenly relevant to the championship. That's why wherever LeBron goes, that team then makes the championship because he is the strongest of strong links. And that's why, as a Pelicans fan, you should be very excited, because in a strong league sport, you too now appear to have added one of the strongest of strong leagues. We also didn't mention, and I'm going to give the Saints in a second, but we didn't mention that Zion is a legitimate contender for Rookie of the Year. He has a lot working against him. Ja Morant was great. Zion did not play a lot of games. If he was to win Rookie of the Year, it would be playing the least amount of games ever. I think Vince Carter might have got after like playing 50. There's somebody else as well, but Vince did it in a year where the NBA was shortened by strike. Wow. But Zion has a real chance depending on what happens over these 8 games. The Saints have a real chance of being very good as well. And we mentioned Kellen Moore, what the Saints did to him last year, looking at those hand signals, and how this year it's going to go even further in that you are going to have to work even harder to obfuscate what you're trying to say. Like, you're going to have to physically change your verbal calls that you make and your verbal checks that you make. And Kenny Vaccaro was talking to Nick Underhill about this, and he said, quote, sometimes something will change during the playoffs or change mid-season, but you don't change that often. Not every week having to change, because the offense can just look at the actual game tape and say, oh, whatever they say this, they're playing this. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So now you're going to have teams that are going to commit a ton of resources. Or maybe not a ton, but they're going to commit resources to having people whose sole job is to listen for the opposing team's checks and then see if they're carrying those checks over week to week. So this pandemic's creating a lot of interesting situations. And the question then becomes, okay, who could thrive most in these unprecedented situations? And that's where, again, I think the Saints are at the forefront of this list. What helps if you are having to change your calls every week and you're adding that mental stress on top of everything else that already makes football so hard? What really helps in that regard? Having a veteran-laden team. And on offense, that is exactly what you have. You have guys that have been doing it together for years now, and then you obviously have Drew Brees as your centerpiece, and his processing power speaks for itself. So he'll be able to lead that charge and to make sure that they stay dynamic. Sean Payton will be able to lead that charge and make sure that they stay dynamic. I don't know what the hell's going to happen with like an Adam Gase and Sam Darnold. I was reading an article yesterday about Sam Darnold, and first off, it's been a terrible couple of years for Darnold. Second off, Adam Gase is a bad coach. Adam Gase is a joke. The fact that they made him the head coach of the New York Jets is kind of insane to me, especially given what he'd even done previous to the Jets. So, they will flounder in this sort of setting. I think the Saints could actually thrive a bit, or if not thrive, they're best suited to adapting to what the times are calling for. Defensively, it's also the same thing. Right? All of a sudden, defensive communication, you're going to be able to relay things easier, but the offense is also going to be able to hear you more. And again, what helps? Leadership. Well, guess what? The Saints have a first-team All-Pro linebacker in Demario Davis that is an incredible role model off the field and an incredible football player on the field. And so, yeah, I think they're going to be okay in that regard too. And there's something else that I think we talk about unprecedented situations creating new challenges for teams. If you have not heard, the NFL preseason has already been cut from 4 games to 2 games. I could still see them getting rid of those final 2 preseason games. And then the question becomes, well, again, who does that favor? Who does that negatively affect? And this is where I think the Saints come away looking good again. Obviously, the teams that have a more established hierarchy, the teams that have veteran leadership, those are the guys who preseason isn't going to be as impactful for. And when you look at this Saints team, like, let's look at the draft, okay? Why did the Saints feel comfortable giving up 4 picks for Adam Trautman? I'm not saying he's not a good player, but it's a super high price to pay in a day and age where analytics believes in stacking picks and throwing a bunch of guys against the wall and seeing what works. Why did they feel comfortable making that move? First, yes, it's because they love the player. But secondly, and they said this, it's because they have a full roster. They have a very complete roster, a dense roster. It's a far cry from 4 to 5 years ago where I used to describe the Saints roster as a papier-mâché tiger just kind of dragged up by its bootstraps by Drew Brees. Like Drew Brees covering up a lot of the brittleness, the fragility of those old Saints rosters. That is not the case anymore. This thing is solidly built. It's got a great foundation. It's got beautiful arches, right? This thing can handle winds. It can handle earthquakes. Like the Saints are solid right now. And so, yeah, not having preseason, that's going to suck for a lot of teams. And, I mean, even a team with veteran leadership like a Tom Brady and these receivers are not getting time on task there. And it's going to affect young quarterbacks more than old quarterbacks. And the Saints look like they may be in one of the best positions in the league. Like the Chiefs, they'll obviously be fine as well. They have a lot of consistency and continuity there. But so do the Saints. So whether it's a limited preseason, whether it's teams being able to hear your calls, so you have to stay more dynamic. You have to continue to change things week to week. I actually think that these Saints, just like they're well-suited for this entire year, 13 wins, 2 years in a row. Guys are going to be back. They're going to be healthy. I also think they're ready to deal with these unprecedented times. Now, they do take a big hit losing the Superdome if no crowds are allowed, right? Because very few people have a home field advantage or a dome field advantage like the New Orleans Saints do. But for the most part, I believe that the Saints are one of the best positioned teams to handle this transition period. I talked about it earlier. Bad news on the Jadeveon Clowney hype train. He's still waiting for money. I don't know if it's going to materialize, at least not from New Orleans. So that got me thinking about defensive line. And then again, I was on New Orleans Football by Nick Underhill, and he has a great Sheldon Rankins piece. And what a player to watch on this Saints defense. If you want to talk about a guy that could still go either way right now, and let's put ourselves in Sheldon Rankins' shoes and see how frustrating his recent experiences must be, right? Remember, his first 2 years, he's a first-round pick. His first 2 years, he's having to constantly, and he was playing pretty well, but he came out as mainly an interior pass rusher, and he was not getting the pass rush success that I think people were expecting. And so even though he's playing all right, and he's a young cat, and he's adjusting the league, he has to answer 2 years' worth of questions where it's, why aren't you getting sacks? Why aren't you getting sacks? Why aren't you getting sacks? Because us on the outside, we don't really care for the nuance of line play. We care about the highlights. Are you getting sacks? Are you giving up sacks? We don't care if you're winning 9 out of your 10 plays, or if your coach does a good job taking on that double team, you freed up so-and-so, or your interior push allowed Cam Jordan to get a sack off the edge. Those things don't always translate to us. So although he was doing those things, people thought he wasn't playing well. So he keeps answering, I just got to keep improving. Well, then year 3, he has the year. 40-plus pressures, 8 sacks. Life is great. And then in the playoffs, on a play where he makes the game-ending, like the biggest play of the game, forcing the fumble. Is that when he tore his Achilles? Was that the play? Am I wrong there? Okay, I am wrong there. But then in the playoffs, when he is peaking, when he's playing his best, he gets one of the worst injuries. It's a terrible injury physically to have to recover from, and the timing of it is terrible. Both, in fact, that it happened in the playoffs, then that immediately sets you back all the way into next year, but it's also terrible timing career-wise. This is a guy who was having the breakout year, who was setting himself up to get the dream, which is the second big contract. And all of a sudden, that's all ripped away because of an unfortunate injury. And then you got to come back from that. And then guess what? Bad luck strikes again, another Achilles injury to the other Achilles. I mean, if you can't feel for that dude, I think you have a shocking lack of empathy. I can feel for him. And that's why I'm going to be cheering for Sheldon Rankins this season. And when you look at this Saints line, I really like Onyemata on the interior. I love the edge guys, even without a Clowney or a Griffin added into the mix. I think the Davenport, Jordan, Trey Hendrickson combo is really good. I think if I was going to talk about guys that could really determine whether this defensive line is going to be good or great, I'm looking at 2 guys. I'm looking at Marcus Davenport, and maybe even more so looking at Sheldon Rankins. Because Sheldon Rankins in the middle can have the ripple effect that then makes success for Davenport, right? If he can get that consistent pressure in there again, he's going to set up Jordan for bigger numbers. He's going to set up Davenport for bigger numbers. And in doing so, he's going to affect the quarterback, and he's going to take points off the board. So a guy to watch this year, Sheldon Rankins, contract year. Is he worth it? Is he not? I would love for him to overcome that adversity, overcome those injuries, and get back to that year 3 form, but only time will tell. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk to Bruce Feldman of The Athletic about the Ivy League's decision today and what it means for college football as a whole. Stick around here on OTB OT, 104.5, 100.3, and 94.7 ESPN.
Off the Bench with Kalana and T-Bob.
Sports will be back.
But for now, we're all rooting for a different kind of hero.
Let's embody the best parts of sports.
Teamwork,
sacrifice,
resilience.
One goal, together.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Luckers, we'll chat with Russ Mitchell of College Football News, and it's a Whiskey Wednesday. We'll chat with Taylor Calandro. Join us 3 to 6 for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jordy Collada and T-Bob Hebert. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome back, OTB OT. Had some pizza arguments in the break that we'll get to at the end of the hour. But first, right now, it is my pleasure to talk about one of the best college football journalists, prognosticators, authors out there. Of course, I'm talking about Bruce Feldman, a good, somebody who has a long relationship with Coach O, has written some great kind of inside LSU stories as well, which you can find on The Athletic. You should go to theathletic.com/holdthatpodcast. You'll get 40% off the sign up. Do it now. You're going to love it. And we're going to talk about college football and the Ivy League decision coming today, what it means. But first, let me welcome in Bruce. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for the kind words. It's good to talk to you.
Hey, so let's get into it then. The Ivy League today, you and Nicole Auerbach had a great piece the other day where you wrote about the Ivy League's impending decision and potential ripple effects on college football as a whole. What is the Ivy League deciding today?
Well, from everything we've heard from coaches, they expect it to be pushed back to spring. That football, again, and it's worth noting, as we mentioned in the piece, Ivy League football is not a revenue sport to them. They do not partake in any postseason anyway. But a lot of their coaches we've spoke to expect college football to not happen for them in the fall, and the decision would be that they were going to try to plan as if they're going to play in the spring. Now, from what I've been told earlier today is I guess they expect the decision to be announced late this afternoon. So we'll see where it goes. And part of what our story was about on The Athletic on Monday was really when I first heard this late last week. And again, it's going basically on what one of the coaches themselves said was, we're not a revenue sport. We don't play in the postseason. I was like, okay, this is kind of a red herring. This is much different than certainly SEC football or Big Ten football. But then when I brought that up to some other Power 5 administrators and said, do you think this has any bearing on the thought process of what you guys will ultimately do? And what I started to hear back was a lot of university presidents really pay close attention to what the Ivy Leagues decide. And just because the Ivy Leagues, I don't want people to get this wrong because I think this has kind of got misconstrued sometimes in the last day or two. Just because the Ivy Leagues may decide, hey, we're holding off till the spring, that doesn't mean everybody else go, okay, we're doing that too. But the part of this was, this is a decision that university presidents will look at and say, you know what, these are people that we really respect, their intel, their thought process. And our story was up for, a couple hours, and I got a call from a head coach in the Power 5, and he said the part that sticks with me in my head is if the Ivy League decides this and they deem it is not safe for our players to play this fall, and we don't think it's the right thing, that could lead to a little bit of an uproar where people are going to say, well, we know that the only reason why you guys are adamant about playing is because you're desperate for the money. Yeah. And some people are going to read this as we don't care about our kids. We're only about money. And that's not good optics for them.
No, I said at the onset, though, Bruce, I think that this whole situation is going to make people who have maybe been dragging their feet in this regard to acknowledge some harsh truths about the reality of the student athlete. And if you are a major Power 5 football player, especially in a conference like the SEC, you are athlete then student. And I think this fall is going to prove that.
Yeah, and I think the wiggle room on this has always been, well, they're not employees.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of people, especially when you see it on Twitter, will sit there and go, well, I would do it for free. Well, the reality is most people, no one's going to pay to tune in to watch you do it, play college football. It's like.
You got to be good.
That's much different seeing Division III football, and it's great and everything, and I'm glad that it exists. But there's a difference between that and what people are packing stadiums, in Death Valley or you name it, to see that. And I think what that argument has always been really hard because it's so unwieldy. Do you pay all college athletes at major programs? Do you play the track athletes at programs like your alma mater has an amazing track program, but it's not like a revenue sport like college football? Do those athletes get paid? Do the athletes at smaller programs in FBS that maybe aren't making much money as programs, how does that work? So I think because that's been so unwieldy, that conversation is really hard for people to kind of plow through. And I think you're right. I think some of the realities of the economics of this are going to be right in people's faces on it. And I think that's what, maybe will be an eye-opener for some people.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a capitalistic approach, right? If you're generating the revenue, you should get a piece of that revenue. But that's not fully the conversation I want to have today. That's for a later date. I do want to ask, though, as we sit here today on this Wednesday, July 8th, what, if you had to guess, what do you think happens with the Power Five? I don't know why. My brain just keeps going back to, if depending on how bad this gets, that maybe you do like a conference-only thing. What do you think happens with the P5?
Yeah, from what I've heard, especially in a couple of conferences, that, and we're talking Power Five, that there is a lot more focus on maybe we only go conference only. That way they can have more uniform rules about who is playing, what the protocols are, testing procedures, also how they view attendance and how they're going to handle that. So, I mean, this thing is so fluid, T-Bob. I mean, the thing is, probably, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was pretty confident that I was like, oh, we're going to at least have some version of a season this fall. Now, would it be interrupted or who knows? But I think when you started hearing from coaches, but also from ADs, and some of the coaches would have their stories about, man, we're having a hard time keeping our guys from testing positive because not necessarily what happens in the building, but, a bunch of guys go out and get together and play Madden, or guys go out to a pool party or wherever.
Or to Tigerland.
Whatever, yeah. You get spread, and there it is. And they're not even really doing football stuff. I mean, they're, in the small group things, it's not like, you know what it's like when football actually happens. You can't social distance when you're doing that. And that's a whole different dynamic for them to process. And then I think the other thing that has happened is, some of these ADs on their weekly conference calls and regular conference calls, they're talking to their peers and hearing some of these stories about the outbreaks and how it's happened. And I think that has shaken a lot of them. I talked to one AD in the Big 12 who had told me that he became a lot more pessimistic about midpoint last week after getting off the phone on one of their calls. Yeah. And I think that's a reality that, like you can see whatever testing numbers. And I think for a lot of this, people can kind of believe what they want to believe because you can find almost anything on your Twitter feed to justify what you think. But when you talk to these people who are working in the middle of it, the ADs, the coaches, the administrators, they're coming to terms with a reality that's staring them in the face, and they're going to know a lot more, they hope, by the end of July to say, okay, are we going to be able to make a run at this normally, or is it something we have to push pause on or audible to something a different time format?
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see. We're talking to Bruce Feldman here. Catch him on The Athletic, my favorite sports type site, athletic.com/holdthatpodcast if you want a sign-up deal. Bruce, it'd be remiss if I had you here and then asked you kind of an LSU-themed question. Have you talked to Coach O lately? Have you seen the rings yet? Have you gotten to talk about the rings with him yet? They just unveiled them last night, and they're pretty.
Yeah, I actually talked to him briefly yesterday for a little bit, just about some book stuff. It's funny. I did see the books because I read your protege Brody Miller's story on how the rings came together, and I thought that was really cool. I didn't, it didn't surprise me you get 2. I wouldn't think you'd get 3 rings, but when you beat as many top 10 teams as they did and had the year they did, it's fitting. I mean, there's parts of that book that we worked on where it came up about where Ed talked about how much ownership he gave Joe Burrow, and some of the things that the players decide, hey, we're not celebrating that because that isn't the goal. The goal isn't the Magnolia Bowl or whatever those things. And so to hear that this was such a building process to okay, that wasn't important. That wasn't important. And then once they're getting to it, and then to see this, I'm like, I can only imagine how impactful that is for those guys who are part of that. Just because I saw the last month of that run, and to see how many pieces literally had to come together for it to work, it's really cool. And so I think with Ed, he's just I think he's so focused on, hey, if we're gonna play, we gotta. This is what I'm excited about, and you can only control what you can control. But I think probably in the times where you're sitting in the car and all those things, I think you can really appreciate, hey, what they did. Because, look, I go back to the night before the national title game. He's given the team, his final big speech, and listening to him talk about, this is going to probably be the greatest day of, you're going to remember this when you're 65 years old,
wow.
Kind of stories. And I think that's why that stuff is so powerful.
Man, that's yeah. Oh, so Bruce, for anybody listening that may not know about the book, go ahead and plug it here on the way out.
Yeah, so it's Flip the Script. It's a book that I worked on with Ed Orgeron. It's really his story, and really the way I viewed it. And I know I told you guys a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this, but really to me, it is kind of a sequel to Meat Market, the book I did about him back when he was trying, to uplift Ole Miss, and all the changes he's made and all the growth that he's made. And I think we just we're still in the final editing processes of the book, but just going to see the last parts of it. I mean, I feel like there's so much stuff in there that I never knew, and I'm somebody who read everything there was to read about that LSU team and at Orgeron, just to hear from the inside, hear from also other players are mentioned in it. I mean, there's an amazing Darius Geis story. There's an amazing story about Joe Burrow that gets told. There's a lot of just great behind-the-scenes stuff. So I'm really excited about the book.
Hell yeah, check it out. Flip the Script. Bruce Feldman does excellent work for The Athletic, embedded himself in LSU. Bruce, thanks so much for stopping by this morning, man.
Always a pleasure, my man. Take care.
All right, take it easy, Bruce. And he's written plenty of great books you've probably heard of. Meat Market being a famous one, in which he chronicles me getting my ass kicked by Drake Nevis at an Ole Miss camp. I think I cried, which was embarrassing. Yeah, there were a lot of people there. Wow. When we get back, we're going to close out off the bench. Pizza talk. Matthew Musso has some problems with my opinions. 104.5, 100.3, 94.7, ESPN.
OTB, OT. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Of content from your favorite shows. Hit the channels tab and subscribe to Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester, and After Further Review. Make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified of when we post. You'll get content like clips from the show, behind the scenes, and who knows what else when Matt Flynn is involved. So make sure you head over to 1045 ESPN YouTube channel and subscribe today.
When you've been in the industry for over 20 years, you learn a few things. For one thing, you learn your product inside and out. But you also learn how to ask the right questions and give satisfying answers. Jim's Firearms.
Hey, Baton Rouge, Trey Wingo. Join me and Mike Golick for Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings from 5 to 7 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Rejuvenate your love life with Rejuvame. RejuvameMedical.com.
On the next edition of Hanging with Hester and Hanny, the champs get their rings. We add in another national champion to get his perspective. Matt Flynn joins the show, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, weekdays from noon to 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with T-Bob Hebert, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Welcome back. OTB OT 104.5, 100.3, 94.7 ESPN. Scott Deas in the YouTube chat. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about his last name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, but Scott's a loyal listener. Shout out, Scott. Says, my pizza game's evolved since I was at LSU. Back when we were told this was in Tigerland, I was just got a large pepperoni. Now I'm older. I go more gourmet with it. I've gone the inverse. I was always a meat lovers guy, try new things like a BLT, barbecue chicken. Now I only get a classic pepperoni. I don't know why it is. I just love a good classic pep. What? Why are you shaking your head, Musso?
Pepperoni pizza is fantastic. That's great.
Yes.
But you got to mix it up a little bit more than that as well. I mean, it's okay to get a pepperoni, but you have to get something else.
I think I've reached a point in my life where maybe it's I know what I'm going through a simple phase. I like vanilla ice cream. I never extend beyond that.
Okay. I mean,
I like pepperoni pizza. No, just vanilla. Just straight vanilla.
Depending on what brand and whatnot you get, that can be completely just.
Man, no, I like perfect. It's just I got like simple, very clear taste now. Danny, what were you saying?
No, I was saying that you only get vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same theory, right? But so earlier, Matthew took exception with me because we were talking to the break, and last night we had a build your own pizza place because his other place was closed down. I think Pandemic might have got it, which sucks. And I came to the conclusion, build your own pizza places suck.
And that's wrong.
I've
had nothing but good experiences at build your own pizza places.
And this is where I feel like Mugato off of Zoolander is that you're not alone. That's what everybody tells me. But like every time I have gone, I have left unimpressed.
Maybe it's you, T-Bob.
Last night, I asked my wife, I said, how can you make pizza with so little flavor? Like, I know I'm chewing something, but there's almost nothing tasty there. I had to put Tony's on it just to give myself some semblance of life, just to give myself a little dynamism. Like it was bland. It was bad. So I'm not a fan. Prove me wrong. Somebody's got to. If you think you got a sweet build your own pizza hookup, try to prove me wrong because I've been to 3 different places. I thought all pizzas were good too. But I've been to 3 different places now, and I haven't had one good build your own.
All pizzas are not good, but everybody likes pizza. I've never met a person who doesn't like it.
I'll always eat pizza if it's available.
I mean, bro, it's bread and cheese, right? And sometimes delicious meat thrown in. Like, it's a holy trinity, which is why I'm shocking at how tasteless that place managed to make it last night.
I just do not believe you.
OTBOT in the books. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Munchies with Chef Michael Johnson and a lot more coming at you. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much.
OTB OT.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona with great news. Our friends at Don